Thank you very much for staying with us. Time now for us to get into the news review. This segment is always brought to you courtesy of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And here's what they're offering you. We've entered the month of November, Men's Health Month, Prostate Awareness Month, and look forward to what we're going to be bringing you as far as prostate awareness is concerned. But Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is offering you, if you're a man, prostate screening for free, gratis. You won't pay a thing. If you're a woman, fertility screening, and you will not pay a farthing. You will not pay anything, not a peswa. And that's because of the health challenges many people are coming up with in these two areas. So why don't you make tracks to any of their offices, any of their branches? Here's where you can locate them. If you're here in Accra, they are at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. If you're in Kumasi, Chronum Abwehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex. If you are in Takra, the Anaji Estate is where you can find them. If you are in Tema, they are located in Community 22. There's also Techiman Hanswa and Esiama Nzema. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Remember, your health is your wealth. Now, to help us in today's newspaper review, we have Maxwell Lukuto. He is Member of Parliament. Well, I keep saying that, but of course, where he finds himself as candidate, it's almost a foregone conclusion. It's like having someone elected in a primary in Bantama or some other area. But he is the candidate elect for the NDC in South Tone. Maxwell Lukuto, good morning. You would have to unmute for me, Maxwell.
Good morning, my brother. I hope you are doing good.
I am okay. Every morning we wake up, no matter the circumstances, we thank God. Once you are alive, at least you are able to move about. You say, "Oh, sorry, na muje di efrusani wo mu na techemada bojumu not wada onyame ase." In other words, if you wake up and blood is flowing through your body, you have your tongue in your mouth, you can speak, you thank God. So we thank God. In my line of work, without a tongue, I can't do what I do. So I thank God for that. Today, there were quite a number of things I want us to cover. So as much as possible, let's go straight to the point on the issues we're going to discuss. But as always, I start with your constituency, where you are hoping to be Member of Parliament. In recent times, the VRA has come by, especially towards the Mepe area. Fumigation has started. There are still outpourings of love through donations. The last time I heard the Ningo Prampram MP, he was here with me yesterday. He mentioned that he had communicated with some people. They had brought sanitary cloths or pads to some of the girls, because while we've been donating water and foodstuffs and everything, we've forgotten that some of them, the menses does not stop because a disaster has happened. So all of those have been coming in. But for those in your community, for those in the catchment areas, what is the latest you can tell us about their status, how they are living?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to you, listeners, viewers, especially those from our constituency, South Tongue and the Tongue Enclave, South Central and North. We are grateful that the water has receded significantly, and it's coming with its accompanying issues. No serious health issues have yet been reported widely, but we are envisaging that some of these few things will come up. Like I said earlier, people got some reaction from bathing directly from the water. We are aware that it is not safe for them to drink directly from it. And so we are doing our best to supply a lot of sachet water to most communities, because those who have not been directly affected by the floods entering their homes and others as well need safe water to drink. And so most of the sachet water we are also getting donated are from people outside the immediate environs of the constituency. Those who rely directly on the Volta River also to produce the pure water are giving some to us. For instance, yesterday, Whole Central Constituency was here with some of the executives, and some members from some branches came here to support us with some number of sachet water that we'll be distributing this morning to people who really need it. Seriously, we need a lot of this sachet water, like I indicated last week. And so those who be coming, we pray and hope that they will bring us more. Every community is demanding for this sachet water, and so that's what we are producing. The fumigation, like you have stated, yes, they are doing some few places, especially the public places like the Kumboni Hospital and the school. Those are very critical places for us that need serious fumigation. And I hear whether Zoom Lion or VRA, there's that controversy whether it was a contract from VRA or a Zoom Lion who is doing it as a corporate social responsibility. We are yet to tell, but at the end of the day, all we wanted is that these places are fumigated and they are made usable by our people. And so, thankfully, these things are receding. But the looming issue ahead of us is the hunger and the famine that we may be experiencing soon. Because most of these farms are inundated with the flood, and after the water has receded, you realize that everything is dead on the farm. The Vegetable Farmers Association, the Petty Farmers Association, and so most of these things are gone, and that's our worry.
Right.
So those who can give us food for the next 3 months, 6 months, we'll be grateful to them. We are grateful to people. TV3 has also come through with a lot of donations being kept around. I'm sure over this weekend they will come over and do the distribution. So we're looking for more public-spirited companies and groups to come to our aid and to give us to help us alleviate the plight of our people.
And that is indeed the case. This is a national crisis. It's not a regional crisis. It's not a crisis limited to the Tong enclave, the South Central North Tong. No, it's something that all of us have to contribute to, and we're all contributing our quota. But on the matter of health, I think there was a time when you mentioned bilharzia, and then you just mentioned that, on the back of health issues, there's nothing really that is going on. But even as we try to get these people back in their homes. Yesterday, Sam George told me that, look, it'll be impossible for most of these people to come back to their homes because the water carried fecal matter from cesspits and all of that, and people's houses and all of that. I mean, the internal parts, water, fecal matter, rubbish, it's swept across cemeteries and all of that. All of these have been picked up. Will the fumigation be enough for people to inhabit these places again? That's the question. What do you think? Briefly, some 30 seconds on that.
No, I don't think immediately people can inhabit those homes, but gradually I'm sure that the stench and all those things will go away and people may have to do a lot of renovation in these homes. That's why we'll need the support of government and VRA to help people to clean up these places very thoroughly. Because it's even the trauma, the psychological trauma alone is enough to keep people off these homes for a long time.
Right.
Especially who were there and the flood just came in and took over. It's a lot of trauma wanting to go back and resettle at those places. But unfortunately, because there are no places that they can conveniently be, most of them will be forced to want to go back. And that's the situation for us. But immediately, I don't think people can inhabit those homes. After a month or two thereabout, I'm sure with a lot of cleaning, repainting, cleaning, and all those things, I'm sure they may want to go back. Because half a loaf definitely is better than that. If you are sleeping in the open air and then your home is just there, you can clean and do some touches to it and go back. Why not? So I'm sure they would want to do those things.
Right. Let's get into the papers now. And the NPP, we'll start with the Daily Graphic. NPP inches towards showdown. Showdown has become part of our political rhetoric now. And there's also NCA NMC launch broadcast complaints platform. 2024 budget. ISA wants prudent spending. And then graphic FBN Bank to support businesses on AFTA. On the back page, Hearts stun Midiama 3-1 in thriller. Hearts evoke placing 13th after having played 7 games with 9 points. And of course, let me see where Midiama is. Midiama 11th, also having played 7 matches with 10 points. But if you look at the league log, you'd see that even the team on top, Aduana FC, has played 8 matches with 15 points. So very little to separate many of these teams at the top of the league. Aduana N. Bafwakwa's unbeaten run, and that was on the back of the brilliance of striker Isaac Minte's hat trick. But let's get into the major stories. What was considered a foregone event has become a highly anticipated contest that promises a showdown in every sense as 4 candidates head into Saturday's final stage of the presidential primary of the new Patriotic Party. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who emerged a dominant force in the initial round in the race to lead the party into the 2024 general election, is facing what political watchers view as a major test, coming face to face with a member of parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Ohene Ejapong, former Food and Agriculture Minister Dr. Wusu Efriakoto, and former MP for Mampong in Ashanti region, Francis Adainimo. Such are the dynamics within the projections that Dr. Bawumia's solid performance in the earlier round may count for little as the party heads into a stage that involves 220,000 party delegates, as opposed to the 923 delegates that gave him 68% endorsement on August the 26th. Now, just to give you a bit of a background, you together with our viewers, according to a poll by Global Info Analytics, a market research company, Dr. Bawumia is still in the lead. His closest contender, according to the poll, remains Mr. Ejapong, a businessman cum politician, whom the opposition NDC, as the NDC's Director of Legal Affairs, Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, has described as a more formidable challenge to the NDC's 2024 elections prospects. There are other surveys that have also emanated, some giving the vice president a lead of about 80.8%. A UK-based entity did that. But like we all recall from Sir John, fear delegates. We've seen that time and again. 900 plus people voted, 923 in the super delegates, and for the vice president, giving him that endorsement. But this time we're talking over 200,000 people. And the question is whether the vice president can cross the Rubicon. I don't know what your take is. Yesterday, Sam George told me that he would actually prefer for Dr. Bawumia to win because it will be cool chop for the NDC. What do you think?
Yeah, I have insisted from the beginning that this is much ado about nothing. Whoever they bring, I'm sure the NDC is solid and waiting for them and to literally kick their balls. Even if four of them are brought together to contest JD, I'm sure that you're going to floor all of them. But at the end of the day, you see Bawumia being seen as a system candidate, and everything and anything is working towards he winning these primaries. And so I have no shadow of doubt that at the end of the day, he would emerge the winner. Dr. Bawumia definitely would emerge the winner. I don't see what much Kennedy Ejapong can do to outwit him. The skills are tilted so badly towards Dr. Bawumia. And so if you hear Dr. Francis Adainimo, he tells you that there's so much disunity because of the way the things have been done from day one till now. And then if you listen to Professor Mensah, he will tell you that all these candidates are very, very weak. And this is the weakest pair he's ever seen in his life. And like I said, well, whoever wins, Bawumia, Kennedy Ejapong, Akoto says he will win, Adainimo says he will stunt them. So let's see how it goes. But at the end of the day, I believe that Dr. Bawumia will win. I'm not sure about the 80.8% that is being given to him, though, because what we hear from the ground is that they see him to be the weakest link. Even though he will win, they feel that the NDC will have a walk over him more easily than maybe Kennedy Ejapong. And so for me, I believe that he's going to win. But as for breaking the 8, our belief is that they are breaking at 8. There's disunity is so much that I don't see them coming back very easily, turning things around economically, and then making any waves in the 2024 elections. Seriously, I really don't see how that is going to happen. A lot of the watchers say that he has turned to, from an economist now to a digitalization expert. You don't hear him talk about the economy any longer.
Well,
like he used
digitization leads to digitalization and monetization of the economy.
Oh, okay. So you also support this idea of drifting from the...
I'm just telling you what is said. But actually, factually, you can also see that digitizing your economy can lead to economic gains. So you cannot run away from that. I do agree that on the standpoint of the economy, as head of the economic management team, we're in a very bad place, a terrible place. But I'm just trying to make the point too that you cannot take away everything and say that digitization and digitalization don't work hand in hand in some manner, no matter how small, towards the economy.
I'm not sure that's what I'm saying, but I'm saying that your core expertise is being an economist. And that is what it comes to Ghanaians. That is what your trump card was coming to government. And so why would you abandon that? Then he might as well go and take the job of Esla also as a communication minister in Rwanda. But the point is that you are the head of the economic management team. Anything that goes around there, the buck stops with you. And so if you are not able to hold that in check and you now drift to the other side and you make all noise about it, it means that you have lost it all. And we are not going to judge him based on the digitalization, but of course on the basis of the economy. And I'm not sure he has any scorecard to show when it comes to that. And I believe that Ghanaians are going to hold him responsible for all the mess we are going through. As for blaming Ukraine, Russia, and now I'm sure they are blaming the Hamas Israeli war. I'm not sure that is what is going to help them, but he's just holding on to, clutching onto straws. And I'm not sure at the end of the day, 2024, we see him to be any match with JDM. And so we wish them all the best, but we just hope and pray that nothing nasty like happening in the Super Delegates Conference happens this time around. We want them to come back in one piece, and so we can beat them to it.
I see some messages coming through, some I can't read. Philip Emwa says, no can, no vote. He keeps repeating that. Kwesi Fosu, I can't read your message, but you say the NPP something party, never again. And Senior Sly says, in fact, the notorious... Okay, so I can't read your message either. We'll just leave it there. But let's get to page 13. NCA NMC launched broadcast complaints platform. So guess what? The National Communications Authority and the National Media Commission have introduced a media content complaints platform to sanitize the electronic media space and rid it of inappropriate and egregious content. The Broadcast Content Complaints Center will allow citizens who view certain content as inappropriate in any way to report or register their displeasure for redress based on established guidelines. Now, the platform will be accessible to everybody on mobile phone service networks across the country via toll-free number 0800 419 666. That is 0800 419 666. I find it interesting that in there is 419. Anyway, and on to the next story. 2024 budget. ISA wants prudent spending. Now, the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research of the University of Ghana has called on the government to use the 2024 budget to introduce policies that will ensure prudent spending, reduce taxes on production, and broaden the tax base. The Institute maintained that taxing production excessively was affecting industrial performance, promoting imports and worsening the already high unemployment situation in the country. It explained that high taxes on food and beverages, for instance, were fueling inflation, and therefore a critical review of some of the taxes must be prioritized in the budget statement and economic policy expected to be presented before Parliament on November 15 this year. Just this final bit on lessons. The director of ISA noted that lessons from the painful domestic debt exchange program should inform the country's spending habits going into the 2024 election. If the people vote for you, Maxwell, you could be in the 9th Parliament. So this should be of interest to you. What are your reactions?
Yeah, sure. First of all, let me applaud NCA for taking the steps to make sure that they bring the complaint system closer to the doorsteps of
and the NMC, together with the NMC.
Yeah, the NMC. Bringing the complaint system closer to the doorsteps of everybody. Once people feel content over a program is not the best option, they can report so that they can bring their attention to it. Of course, right. I know that they have the platform where they monitor anything and everything that goes on all of these media spaces. But maybe in more particular things, if people feel that a particular one is of concern, they can report. And so that's a good one. The 2024 budget, yes, of course. This issue of overtaxing has been around for a long time, to the extent that they are betting boys who, out of unemployment, have decided to do some betting, and they are supposed to be paying about 10% on their winning and all that.
Right.
They have complained vehemently, and I'm sure that the Institute is just echoing this back to government. Yes, they say you can't always overtax your people to prosperity. And so I'm sure the people at the helm of affairs are the ones who test out these policies prior to their coming to government. But unfortunately, that is what we are seeing them do. They take off some low-hanging fruit like the the road tolls that people are easily paying, and now they are putting it on unnecessary things, and a lot of us are complaining. And so if they can look at these things and then redirect their focus and generate more for the use of the country, the better. But as for the overtaxing, I'm not sure it helps anybody in any way. Of course, so companies are going down because when they can't sustain the level of taxation, they may want to fold up, and it affects the number of people they can employ.
Right.
And so this is a good call, and I'm sure that they would want to look at it. So for us going forward, I hope and pray that something positive comes out of this budget that will be read on the 15th of November. We have seen things recurring over and over, and at the end of the day, nothing positive comes out. Now the country seems to be at a standstill. Roads are not being constructed, nothing is happening. And so the president resorts to flying everywhere he goes because the roads are so bad. And they always declare year of roads, but at the end of the day, you see nothing practically happening on the ground.
Right.
And so I don't know how they are going to turn things around. But we pray and hope that something positive happens, because we cannot throw our hands in despair and look on. We pray and hope that something positive comes out to turn the fortunes of.
We seem to have a frozen connection there, but just adding my voice to the roads situation. There's this bridge. Sam George, Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, spoke about it yesterday. We gave you visuals of it. I have used that bridge before. It's in a terrible state. Mr. Roads Minister, Kwesi Amwakwata, Mr. President, we're calling on you. And we're saying it here. We don't want to wait till someone dies, a disaster happens. Then we all go there. We flock to that place. Oh, people are dead. It's such a sad situation. We commiserate with the family. Ghana is grieving before we do the work. It's been there for a long time. We saw the footage. If you watched the show yesterday and saw that bridge, the Afienya Dawenya Bridge, terrible. Not even bicycles should use that stretch. People shouldn't even walk on it, but cars are passing on it. So please, Mr. President, if you can, it's a bridge. We hear the roads ministry has secured the plates and the beams, but it's left with logistics to fit them. We don't know what the full details are, but we are pleading with you, Mr. President, Mr. Roads Minister, get this done before disaster strikes. Because if disaster strikes, God forbid, we'll not spare you. We are saying it so you can take action now. Right? Let's see whether we have Maxwell Lukoto back. Max, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, right. Let's get a move on. Just on the international front, King Charles III visits war cemetery in Kenya, and he visited a war cemetery in Kenya yesterday, laying a wreath in honor of Kenyans who fought alongside the British in the two world wars, a day after the monarch expressed, quote, greatest sorrow and the deepest regret for the violence of the colonial era. Well, easy for you to say, King Charles, very easy for you to say. You know, recently I was reading something about the Germans also apologizing, was it to the Tanzanians or so? But you literally carved out Africa like a piece of cake. You know, sometimes I get really upset when these foreign powers talk like this. You may be expressing regret and all of that, but look at what you did to us. Look at us. You created false boundaries. You sat in Berlin, carved out the continent and did whatever you did. And now you apologize. While I am not so much for all of these bits when it comes to, yes, some reparation, I feel, ought to be done. Because when you look at the colonizing economies and the benefits they secured from Africa, the gold, the diamonds, look at South Africa, the resources, look at Ghana. Some restitution, some reparation ought to be done. But where I am cautious about it is how lazy our misleaders, African leaders are. Because they don't want to do anything. We have no business as African countries being in the state we are now. Look at Ghana. We have everything under God's sun. Look at us. So that is where sometimes I have a bit, because once they get a little money here, then they sit there cool and relax. That's my problem. But anyway, that's it. And also Gambia court sentences soldier to 12 years in prison for leading a foiled coup last year against President Adama Barrow's administration. That's it for the Daily Graphic. Any quick reflections before we move to the Ghanaian Times?
Yeah, sure. So about King Charles, I think that it's time Africans move away from this pity party to sitting their ass down and thinking about doing something positive for ourselves. We have long stayed in this situation of asking the Westerners to come to pity party with us.
Maxwell,
Yeah.
if you can hear me this morning, so I think I've heard you use the B word to refer to certain parts of the male body this morning, and I just heard you use the A word. I can't repeat it, but you said something. I would like you to sanitize your language. It's still very early in the morning, and regardless of the time of day, please, I beg you, some of those terms can't be used on air. So if you'd retract, I'd be grateful. Then you just go on. Please retract and go on.
Okay. I just mean that we sit down. That's what I mean.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we should sit down and really look ourselves and move forward from this situation of asking people to come and pity with us. That's what I mean. And so for me, it's been long. We should grow over this and look at the way forward. Let's not keep asking them to come over, go to our cemetery, lay wreath, and what doesn't break to us. For me, it's long time. It's high time we on, yes, and then think about what we can do for ourselves. The earlier we do that, the better. I saw you being passionate about what we can do for ourselves as Ghanaians. We have everything we can think of, but we keep going back to this Westerners, cap in hand, begging for them to drop some points in it for us to come and look at ourselves. It's high time, and the little that they give to us, we mismanage it to the highest degree. We can do things for ourselves. That's what I believe. The little you see Ghanaians and you see that they are industrious. They can turn things around for themselves. And for me, let us sit down and then really look at these things and move forward. Yes.
The Ghanaian Times newspaper, ensuring regional, sub-regional security, will support Ghana to preserve stability, fight terrorism, criminal groups in West Africa. The German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, says so. But you see, even as all of these are done, even as we received that support from the EU recently, the over 100 vehicles and all of that, if you don't, I keep saying, if you don't look at human security, I have studied national security law and practice. The core bits about human security, we've moved away from national security in the sense of militarizing, a state and all of that. Human security, ensuring that people have the basics of life, that people can not just survive but thrive, that the economy is good, that education is good, that healthcare is good. If you overlook these, you are sitting on a ticking time bomb. So we can talk all this talk about we'll support you. Niger, they were supported by the West. What happened there? Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea. I'm not saying that same is going to happen here. I'm merely saying that if we don't get our act together, militarizing and the purported support from the West and the East and wherever will not suffice. We need to deal with the people, provide for the people. In my days of studying political science, you deliver the bacon to the people, what the people want. Recently in Rwanda, I followed a story how they are even giving their roads now sidewalks, which are practically like another road for people to exercise and all of that.
Exercise, Rwanda.
Exercise, exercise. Yes. So, and they are pristine, looking so good. Here, even the road that your car is traveling on. Anyway, so Benjamin, that is that.
Benjamin, so it's a serious situation. Like you said, even the way our intelligent officers go about some of their work. Look at what is happening in Garo. And people had to be beaten to pulp. Laid, everybody, even a 6-year-old was beaten. So what are you looking for? Guns from people's home, and you think beating a 6-year-old will give you the gun? If you are going for an operation, should it not be intelligent-led? Would you just go and meet anybody and begin to beat? And so for me, whatever the German Chancellor spoke about, the support they are coming to give to us, what are we giving to ourselves? That's the question I keep asking ourselves. Do we have the people who are intelligent enough to lead some of these operations? So for me, yes, we welcome it, but let us get ourselves together, train ourselves, make sure that we deliver best practices so that we can get these things uncovered as easily as possible. Yes, nobody wants terrorism. Nobody wants a coup. Nobody wants a government to be toppled. And so for me, let these operations be intelligent-led, not just that we have lived with all this, that we have lived with all our life. And so let's move away from some of these things and help ourselves better.
All right. Maxwell, we have about 4 minutes. In these next 4 minutes, I want to run some stories by you. There's also government urged to ensure 2024 budget alleviates suffering of Ghanaians. Government presents relief items to Buipe flood victims. And then scrap dealers vandalize and steal ECG switch gears. This is not the first time we're hearing this. It's still ongoing. But I'll focus on page 13. 2 stories there. EC begins voter registration exhibition tomorrow, and the EC will begin the exhibition of the Provisional Voters Register from tomorrow, November 3, to Tuesday, November 7, 2023, at all the 38,622 polling stations across the country. This forms part of preparation towards the conduct of the district-level elections slated for Tuesday, December 19, 2023. And then, National Cathedral Secretariat denies criminality in construction of cathedral. Your take, Maxwell.
Yeah, so about the cathedral thing, it's going back and forth. And yes, let the auditors and then look critically at the books. But for me, so much has gone down the drain, and I don't know how we're going to salvage ourselves out of this situation. Again, asking Ghanaians, coming back to ask Ghanaians to contribute towards building this national cathedral, that we are not too convinced about the benefits thereof that is going to bring beyond tourism, people coming to look at these things and saying that you have a very beautiful cathedral in your country, like we keep referring to other places. I really don't see that this is the best time for us to be talking about this cathedral. The PP relief, yes, we are not too sure whether it's from government, from VRA, like we are seeing at our places. NADMO doesn't have much. VRA gives to them to give to our people. And so whether it's government, whether it's the ministerial committee or whatever it is, I'm not sure whether donating relief items to the affected people is one of the terms or reference given to them by the president. I'm sure that we are growing beyond that, and the more critical things we need will be how to attract the $40 million US that we are told will be given to farmers. Because as for the individuals, food and water, we are managing and doing our best. Let's go beyond that about how we can compensate the farmers so that they can get back to their feet. Yes.
All right. The Daily Guide newspaper is, in fact, these two papers, Daily Guide and Business Finder. The Daily Guide, talks again about the voter registration exercise, the exhibition, Fremont Parish storming the Savannah region. But what I'll focus on, so there's Nana promises massive Western North development, but Kaswa Cops killer jailed 20 years. And Eric Kojodua, the 37-year-old man who shot and killed two uniformed police officers on duty at Budumburam near Kaswa in 2019, has been sentenced to 20 years imprisonment in hard labor by a high court in Accra. My only wonder, 2019, we're in 2023. Sometimes these issues, but of course, sometimes they also look at what term he may have already served and then make the deductions. And then there's Business Finder, target 8 to 10% annual growth to significantly improve livelihoods. That's according to ISSA. And then SNIT deepens engagement with informal sector workers. Final words, Maxwell.
Yeah, the Kaswa killer, the cop killer, yes, of course. Some of these things we should not go away without being punished. So it's a good thing that at the end of the day, it's gotten and being given the best jail sentence or whatever so far. For the voter registration, it's a call to duty for all who have registered in the previous years or even the recent past one to go to these voting centers or the polling centers to make sure that they check the details of their names to ensure that your name is being spelled correctly, especially those who register out of the polling centers, who register at the constituency, the district EC center, to ensure that their names are being appropriately transferred into the place they intend to vote. That's the polling center. How correct their names has been spelled. Those whose names are being eliminated so that they can fill forms and get it back into the roll so that at the day of voting, not be disenfranchised. So I will call on all and sundry to ensure that they visit their voting centers and ensure that they have gone through the process properly. It's a civic right that we all need to exercise and ensure that at the end of the day, we exercise our right to vote.
Maxwell, grateful for your time as always on a Thursday morning, and we wish you the very best. Please communicate our heartfelt regards to the people in your constituency. We're wishing them the very best. Maxwell Lokutor is candidate-elect for South Tone on the ticket of the NDC. He joined us for a conversation. This message comes through. Chris Colioni Ajay says, ask the Europeans to stabilize their countries. We know what is going on there. They should not pretend they care about us. Their fear is the opportunity of making new partners looking at the current multipolar systems. But whether West or East, all of these countries coming have their own interests. We ought to prioritize ours by using what God has given us. Right before we go, 2 birthdays, I want to celebrate Ellen White. Today happens to be your birthday, Impact Maker. You were part of the Impact Makers Challenge, the Joy Impact Makers Challenge. Today is your birthday. Thank you for what you do for God and country. Ellen White, happy birthday to you. Also, this one coming through, it says, happy birthday to Saha Bawa Muyase. You are at the Fountain of Youth International School in Primary 1. May your day be filled with the same joy, love, and happiness you bring into our lives every day. May Allah make you bigger, better, and brighter. May He be the light that guides your path and His love embrace you all the time. Ameen. Okay, so happy birthday to both of you, little Saha and to Ellen White. That's the note on which we cap off the news review. But this segment is always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free fertility screening if you're a woman. Locate them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronoma Bwehian behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiama Nzema. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the doorstep of sports up next.